Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Games and Things, the conference tournaments and the NCAA tournament right around the corner. Watch them in style with a new home theater seat or seats from Games and Things. Find the right seats for your room and for your budget at Games and Things, because life should be fun, and, buddy, they make it fun. All right, rapid fire on UT football. Everyone gets a question. Everyone gets 60 seconds to tackle it. Chuck Cavaleris, I start with you, and let's put the graphic on the wall for our folks at home. I read a national story this week that referred to Tennessee as one of the bottom 8 football programs in the new 16-team SEC. It is close, but is Tennessee top half of the new league or bottom half of the new league?
Well, that gives you some things to consider there, John. It's a great question.
Thank you.
When I look at that, I see Tennessee as being in the bottom half of the top half, because I see more programs.
Find a way to Cavaleris any question.
Well, yeah, they're in the top half, but I don't
So
see
they're
them
top
in
8.
Yeah, I don't
right.
see them in like that very top. You know, obviously you got Alabama, Georgia. You feel like they're going to stay there. I see more programs looking at this list that I would rank below Tennessee. I see it 7 or 8 below. So I would have Tennessee in the bottom half of the top half.
Okay. I think Tennessee, Auburn, and Texas A&M are right there in that 7, 8, 9. And
Yeah.
I don't know who's 9.
That's the bottom half of the top
Tennessee's
half.
got more national titles than Texas A&M, so Tennessee's top half. All right, there we go. Josh, here's your your question. 7 former Vols, and we can put that on the screen. 7 former Vols were invited to the NFL Combine, including Jeremy Banks and Paxton Brooks, both surprising to me a little bit. Of the 7, who has the best opportunity to climb the draft boards at the Combine?
It's a pretty good question, John.
Not a great question? Chuck gets the extra $1 in his check this week.
Trying to keep you honest. So if you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said Darnell Wright. But his stock has improved so greatly thanks to his showing at the Senior Bowl that I think he probably has the best stock right now. So I don't know how much more he can go up as a projected first rounder right now. I think Cedric Tillman has a chance to move up some. I mean, Jeremy Banks is interesting because they have to be asking a lot of off-field questions, what's going on, so there's a chance to improve. I'm going to say Byron Young. I think he will have a chance to show up impressively with his athletic ability. He was a high performer at Tennessee, an all-SEC guy, and you want pass rushers in the NFL. You're trying to get to the quarterback as often as you can and affect teams. Look at what the Eagles have done to get to the Super Bowl. So Byron Young is my answer.
I think I'd go with the wide receivers simply because somebody always takes off at the Combine that you've never heard of and they get drafted and about 1 out of every 6 players at the Combine are receivers this year. Mm-hmm. Those guys got all the invites. So I would go receivers. Byron Young is who Josh would go with. All right, very good. Ryan Callahan, 4 recruiting analysts for The Athletic, credited Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina for their recruiting classes. The 4th person, they all specifically talked about the momentum on field and off field for Shane Beamer in Carolina. The 4th writer said, well, if you're not going to say Saban, Smart, and Beamer again, then I would give credit to Heupel in Tennessee. So you were an afterthought because they couldn't mention Beamer again. My question, I think around here everyone thinks Tennessee's ahead of South Carolina, despite that game last year. Who's the hotter team? Which has hotter program, more momentum, Tennessee or South Carolina?
Might depend on whether you look at this as a short-term or long-term question. I think short-term, the answer is South Carolina. They finished the season strong. They finished the 2023 class strong. Tennessee didn't have as much of a big finish there at the end. In the 2024 class, South Carolina's off to a very good start. Early commitments can be overrated, but they've gotten 5 or 6 guys in that class already for 2024. So I think right now, the past 2 or 3 months at South Carolina, long term, is it sustainable though? It's kind of like the Big Ten SEC discussion we had earlier. I think long term it still might be Tennessee, but for right now, this moment, I can see why they're saying South Carolina.
Okay, very good. So you managed a way to go both ways. All right,
So critical.
Jimmy. And you didn't say great question or even good question.
Really? I'll leave it to the Twitterverse to rate the question, okay?
Well, that Twitterverse won't be kind to me. Jimmy, those same writers were asked which freshman SEC quarterback was most likely to start a game this year. Mm-hmm. And they all said Nico Iamaleava. My question is, how likely is it? Less than 50-50? 50-50? Better than 50-50 that Nico gets a start?
That is a great question, John. Great question.
Well, I'm a real
It's
trendsetter.
better than 50-50 that he is going to get a start. If you look at the SEC, I think there were only 4 teams in the league last year that had one guy that started every game.
That's amazing.
Tennessee didn't do it. Alabama didn't do it. Arkansas didn't do it. Go through the list. Georgia did it. It's one of the few. But because of the history of the injuries to quarterbacks in the league and how good this league is and how good they can be on defense, I'm going to say Nico, better than 50-50, he will get a start this year.
And that's more to do with injury than it is with the way Milton plays, in your
Yes.
mind. Okay, very good. All right, and you know what? He didn't waffle a time there. Very good. All right.
'Cause I had a
That was
great question.
a great answer. That was a great question and a great answer. Very good. All right, when we come back, it's Super Bowl Sunday. We always try and have a little fun in the last segment on Super Bowl Sunday, so we'll do a little something next. We're going to walk down memory lane. The teams and players we loved and hated the most, but we can't mention our own teams. That's next, coming back on the Sports Source.